Hello, everyone. Thank you for standing by. As a reminder, this event is being recorded and will be archived on constructionbusinessowner.com. I'm Kathy Wells, editor of Construction Business Owner magazine. Welcome to Adopting Labor Operations Software for Contractors, presented by Ryan Meidel, Adam Elsasser, Brian O'Donnell, Connie Mahatha, and Construction Business Owner magazine. Today's webinar is sponsored by Rivet, and will share insights from 3 contracting innovators about labor operations software and the impact it's had on their business. Rivet is a construction software platform that connects the right workers, contractors, and tools for a modern approach to getting work done, both at the job site and in the back office. Rivet's labor operations software transforms the way contractors manage, plan, schedule, and deploy crews in one united platform. The Rivet team is passionate about leveraging technology to champion the skilled trades, accelerate digital transformation, and make construction an industry of choice for the new generation entering the workforce. At this time, it's our pleasure to begin the webinar. Please stay tuned after the presentation for the interactive Q&A session. Please send your questions through the Ask a Question box, and we'll get to as many of them as possible. Now I will turn things over to our moderator, Ryan Meidel, to get things started and to meet our panelists. Ryan?
All right. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. Everybody, my name is Ryan Meidel. I'm the president and CEO of Rivet Work. Rivet's a 100% American-made labor operations software platform built specifically for contractors that perform commercial and industrial work. For the construction business owner audience, one of the things unique about us is that we built our platform together with contractors. And so it's built for the workflows the companies in our industry already use. And it feels familiar. It's not something that's going to look like, it's not going to look foreign. It'll look similar to like the whiteboards and the spreadsheets that you may already use as a business. If I can impart just kind of like one key takeaway about myself and our business, it's that we care. We care about this industry. We care about our customers, and that's just because we're not just a vendor. We are part of the community. And so, that's enough about me. And let's move on. The next slide. So it's probably no surprise to anybody here that finding qualified skilled workers is the largest challenge in the industry today. Better labor operations is a big competitive advantage for contractors striving for growth, and having a competitive advantage both in how you operate your business, but also in how you bid and win business. Labor operations is more than just like managing your current people and jobs. It also can tie into like what you bid, what jobs you take, making sure that like your capacity and the work that you have lines up really, really well. And that's how you can drive the most profit for your business. I've only got one slide here before we go ahead and introduce the rest of the panelists. One of the things I kind of want to emphasize and kind of share is like how improved operations can kind of like translate to dollar figures for your business. Now this can, this can vary based on region, type of work, and cost of labor, but just like scale down, what better labor operations can mean for a business. So, a 50-person contractor, give or take a little bit, is doing about $1 million in revenue. It spends about $5 million on labor. And so a 1% improvement is about $50K per year. A 100-person contractor, we're talking like 20 million in revenue, 10 million in labor. And so maybe a 1% improvement is about 100K a year. And then a 500 tradesperson contractor is doing about 100 million in revenue, 50 million in labor. So 1% improvement is about 500K per year. I haven't talked to anybody in the industry that thinks there's less than 1% on the table for running better labor operations. Why you should care, it's that labor operations can help you and can help your business, can help you grow your business, and help you improve your bottom line. But that's enough about that. Let's introduce the panelists. And so we'll just go right down the line here. We'll start with Connie. So Connie's Human Resource Manager in Robinson Construction. Connie, can you start and give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself, your role, your business, and its history?
Sure. So hi, everybody. My name is Connie Mahatha. I am the Human Resources Manager at Robinson Construction. We are a heavy industrial construction company. We're headquartered in Southeast Missouri. We take contracts with nationally known clients all throughout the United States. I've been in human resources and the staffing industry for over 10 years. And although my job consists of many different aspects, I really enjoy workforce planning and recruiting. I thrive on the employee interactions and working with our people to ensure our projects are a success from the aspect of getting the right talent in the right place at the right time.
All right, next we've got Adam. Adam, would you also kind of introduce yourself, your role, your business, its history?
Yeah, I'm Adam Elsasser. I'm with Miller Electric. We're based out of Omaha, Nebraska. Miller Electric's been around since 1912. I joined the team in April of '99 as a first-year apprentice. I've held every position from apprentice to journeyman to now the operations manager. My gig is essentially building safe teams that are the most productive and for our customers. Miller does mostly commercial work and some light industrial, and currently we're right around 940 field electrical employees, and that's kind of why we jumped on the rivet train.
That's great. Well, Brian, same with you. Kind of a little bit about your background, about yourself and your business.
Yeah, so I'm Brian O'Donnell. By trade, I'm a journeyman electrician. I've been in the industry for about 16 years. I've held every position, throughout from field rep to foreman. I was a labor rep for a short period, project manager, and now find myself in a role as project executive. Some of my roles as project executive, I do business development, some community engagements, and a lot of operations too. High Tech Electric was founded in 1985. We're headquartered in Portage, Michigan. We also have a shop that operates out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Between the two shops, we have about 250 field staff. There's a couple of larger industrial sites that house some of that workforce. But most of our crews, we have between 3 and 5 crew plus a field foreman, and then some larger projects with 10 to 15. Those are our preferred crew sizes, between 3 and 5 and 10 and 15. And then we run typical field operations here. We have a construction manager and a service manager, PMs under both of them that direct and coordinate the field staff.
Wow, thank you. So first question for all of you, and we'll start with Connie, and then Brian and Adam, you can just chip in too. How do you think about technology at your company, Connie, and how do you make decisions about technology at Robinson?
So technology is very important to the company. We typically aim to be on the leading edge. We're excited about implementing new technology that can improve the efficiency of our staff and our business. So we were looking at different software systems to help us with our workforce planning for years. I came into this HR manager role a couple years ago, and I know there were talks about software, but it really amped up in the last 12 months. And we had looked at many systems. When we found Rivet, everybody was pretty excited. We were looking for a very user-friendly system because that's what's going to work best for our business and our people. So finding the system was pretty exciting for all of us, and we just couldn't be happier that we found a system that works across the board for us and works with all of the various roles that use it on a daily basis.
Piggybacking right off of that, we kind of had everything that Rivet offers in various different pockets in our company, and Rivet allowed us the opportunity to kind of put it all under one roof. Historically, technology in our company is another tool in our toolbox, whether it be like a Trimble unit or in various other softwares. A lot of folks are reluctant to change, and new software, things like that, are no different. But when we were able to show the team the little baseball cards with everybody's credentials, and then the scheduling function, as well as the map, and also the projections for each project all under one roof, that was kind of a no-brainer.
So in our firm, we think about technology in terms of efficiencies, or the ability of that technology to streamline our business operations. When we consider technologies at our company, usually they present themselves at our staff meetings. Either a PM or another leadership position will present that as a possible bit of software technology for our company. We have a frank discussion about the benefits of it or the negatives of it. And then ultimately the decision is usually made between our construction manager, our service manager, and the president of the company for final determination of implementation.
Well, thanks, guys. What about mistakes that you've made? You know, implementing software can be hard, and even in us, like we're as a technology business, we've implemented the wrong things before, and we paid the price. And so, you know, what mistakes have you made in implementing technologies, and what advice would you have for folks watching? Brian, you want to start?
Yeah. So in some of my past experiences, not fully understanding the entirety of that software, their technology before its initial launch. So, you know, kind of get head over heels on something, you fall in love with it real bad and you want to get it out there and have it make a positive impact. We found that sometimes you don't fully understand its capabilities. You're either missing some things and then other things don't link up because you missed that one item. And some advice I would have is pick one of your management staff that's going to be a champion of that software. Have them pilot it by themselves for 6-7 months, long enough duration where they're really comfortable with that program or that software to understand exactly what it can do. And then we'll typically have that leader or that champion of that software present to the rest of the leadership or the field staff and help train them and work along with that. We find when a well-respected peer takes the time to learn the software in and out, it goes a long ways with implementation across the rest of the company.
Adam or Connie, you got anything you want to add to that?
Sure. Yeah. So, sometimes it just takes a while for the new technology to actually surpass the capability of the existing technology. That's something we experienced here in our office. We had a system that we had used for decades, hand built, customized to our particular needs, and we can add on. And we just kind of customized our internal system for years and years and years. And then Rivet, we started looking for something that was outside of the box, something that was more web-based, something that we could utilize throughout the field. And so when Rivet came along, it took a little bit. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a mistake, but there's a process to implementing and adopting. So implementation takes commitment, time, and energy. And like Brian mentioned, when implementing new technology, sometimes we had to persuade the staff to adopt. And I kind of became that champion, I would say, which is kind of ironic because I was one of the people that was resistant to change in the beginning. I just didn't feel like we had the time to dedicate to a new software system. So getting past those hurdles with your staff and persuading them that this system is going to be better, it's user friendly, it speeds up the process to what you're doing. I am now the champion for the company, and I was one of the laggers. So I would have to say, you got to remain diligent to win the buy-in, but it can be done. Finding that champion is important, and getting that buy-in is vital and crucial to being successful with your new system.
I would agree with all of that. And also just not jumping on the latest shiny thing just because it's new, making sure that it works for your company. Everybody's trying to sell you something. And when you just kind of hop from new thing to new thing, sometimes it's hard to get those folks to buy in because they think, this will be gone in another month. It's garbage. They just, jumped on the new shiny thing. So when I decided to kind of sell the team on Rivet, I had to do a really good sales pitch on all the different ways that it would benefit our company and not just the one way part of our company might use it, so that we could jump in feet first and adopt it.
That's lots of great context, and that's a good segue, Adam, into why. What was the pain that you were feeling that made you want to adopt a tool like Rivet for your business?
For us, it was kind of what I hit on earlier, is everything's in one place. Prior to using Rivet, we had a manpower tracker spreadsheet, projection spreadsheet, and various other payroll, type of things that housed our folks' licenses and safety certificates and things like that. And as the guy who I look at myself like I'm the center of a wagon wheel and I have to touch every little spoke, that can be cumbersome, just bouncing from all the different places you're storing information. When we've got the Rivet squad to sync with Computeries, our accounting software, and pull that data and then true up our projection spreadsheet and my manpower tracker all onto the baseball cards and by each project, it didn't take very long at all, which was really a testament to the folks helping out. And once I got the terminology down, I mean, it's pretty seamless transition for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And oh, go ahead, Connie.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, so with us, the reason to move forward with it, basically our workforce is often spread out between 20 to 25 projects at any given time, and we have anywhere between 250 to 400 employees on staff out in the field. So we operate typically 10 to 12 different states at a time, so our needs are very dynamic. We needed a software to manage and organize all of our assignments and the shuffling of these employees. So every week, we will reassign anywhere between 25 to 40 current employees. So this is a constant movement of employees amongst the various job sites, and that needed to be managed. We did manage it through our old software system, but Rivet helped to enhance the process. So we can schedule now down to the day, not just the week. That was our old system. We can pull out any information that is needed. We can communicate with our employees. So we needed also a good way to forecast our workforce needs over the next year to understand our capacity for additional work. The estimating and we call it the Get Work team, the estimating team relies on our team to let them know what the workforce projections look like. So we know if we need to be aggressive and go out and get work, or if we're fully staffed, fully at capacity, and we don't think we can recruit, then that kind of affects our go out and get work, our sales team's efforts as well. So forecasting is huge for us, and so we're going to use it for that aspect as well, and manage that process. We also like the fact that it's web-based. Our former system was not. This was a huge selling feature for us. This allows better access to our field supervision and project managers that are working out of the office. And so those individuals can tap into this software system and derive whatever information they need. It's all at their fingertips. So that was a huge plus for us too.
Yeah, and I think both Connie and Adam covered a lot of my talking points. So I just reinforce what they've said. And like Adam said, our certifications and Michigan's a licensure state, so we have to track our licenses both for apprentice and journey level workers. We have to have them updated, and then there's, as a subcontractor, your different systems, and everyone requires different certifications or different trainings for each of those specific systems. So the ability to house all that in one central location and just quickly reference all that information with a few keystrokes, and to Connie's point, the cloud-based software, we're not taking up huge tracts of space here on our own local site when it's cloud-based. And it's really allowed us to refine, and I go back to the streamlining our business operations. It's a nightmare, and it can be, especially in such a restrictive labor market, trying to find the right people to go to the right projects. We pull up that dashboard, and I can easily track and look at all our pin project locations. I cut out about half the time I used to in performing, sort of operations role and directing manpower. So it's labor ops for us is alleviated a lot of those pain points, and specifically the ones that Connie and Adam had mentioned.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. You've already talked about it a little bit, but was it hard? Was it easy, or was it somewhere in between to adopt software like this for your business? Let's start with Adam.
Sorry, I muted myself there. I think the decision to get better was fairly easy. Just the look of things. I'm used to operating a spreadsheet. So seeing everything kind of in little compartments just took a little bit of getting used to, and then navigating it. But I mean, really, after a few days, it was pretty seamless. I felt like it was a pretty easy transition. Dana, Cedric, and Andy that I dealt with, kind of helping do a little training and also coordinating with our IT folks to make sure that everything was syncing. They were flawless and answered all my questions with ease. Very few hiccups in the process, and I mean, my hat's off to them. That made my life easier.
For us here at High Tech, so I wasn't here or back at High Tech for the initial launch of our labor ops program, but in my day-to-day activities, I do in and out of our labor ops program every single day. And with most tools and software or anything, it's only as good or it's only as effective as the data you put into it. So one of the things that we are continually trying to improve upon is keeping all of our job sites and our projects up to date with the current manpower. And Adam mentioned the ability to cross-reference some of our different softwares. So we know where we're at for labor hours, we know where we're at for job cost, and then we really have to stay focused and diligent on moving that manpower around in our labor ops software so it's as effective as it can be. There's tons of great little widgets and opportunities, but all those widgets and the capabilities of software are only as good as the data you input into it. And that's something we always strive to do better at.
Yeah, so many years ago, as I mentioned, we developed our own software for labor management, and so continually upgraded that. Our people were accustomed to using a software system. So switching to a new system, I wouldn't say it was easy, but they were already accustomed to using a kind of a sophisticated system. This one, of course, just took it to another level, has a lot more bells and whistles, a lot more features than what we had previously. So when I started getting in the system, of course, any new system is a little bit intimidating, but it became fairly intuitive, and I really enjoyed the training sessions that we had. I feel like they were very thorough, and I feel like the team at Rivet just took the time to really understand our needs for our individual business, and they would customize pages or customize features that we were looking for, which we found just to be exceptional. So that was one of the big reasons I think that we gravitated to Rivet. I'm in the system all day long, managing our current workforce and our staffing needs. So it is a system that I had to be on board with. I work in the system all day long. I'm probably the only one in the company that works in the system as much as I do. So, but I did find it quite easy to adopt and learn the system. And now, like I said, I've become the champion for the system, and I train others on how to use it. So overall, it's been a great process. Adopting labor ops has been a real positive. I wouldn't say there's any negative aspects to it at all. It's been a good process. It's been a good experience.
That's really great to hear. I think like one common thread I heard is the team. And I mean, our team at Rivet, the team is what makes the business work. I think it's the same in every business, especially in the construction industry. And having good people is really important. And that's like one thing that we really strive to maintain in our business, because if we have good people, then we know they'll take care of our customers. So if you had to pick one area where labor ops has had the biggest impact on your business, like what would it be? Connie, how do you want to start?
Sure. So it allows us to better understand the needs and to distribute our talent across our projects. That is a primary focus of mine every single week. I have to make sure the talent is distributed throughout all of the projects. I have to also say the ability to forecast a year or more into the future is very beneficial. We did not have that feature before with our system. We can only kind of schedule week by week, and the new schedule can go day by day or hour, and that's just been really beneficial to us as well.
For us at High Tech Electric, it's really impacted our operations. It's allowed us to be more agile as a company, and really it provides better benefit for our project managers and in the end our field staff as well too. So our PMs, they can hop onto our labor ops software, look at the widget in the dashboard. Right there, they can easily input vacation days, sick days, absenteeism for each of the employees. It's just a simple click. There's no paper trail required. There's not a file or a stack of files for our 250 field staff anywhere. It's all done. It's cloud-based. It's right there. It's easily tracked right at the fingertips. And the other portion of that we really like too, which we never really had before until this, is the ability of that dashboard to pin our project locations in conjunction with where our employees live. So if we land a new project or secure a contract, we'll pin that project to our project map, and then we'll pull a 25-mile radius of that project location, see what kind of workforce we have in that area, and it's allowed for us to keep our field staff as close to home as possible, which we really never had the ability to do before. It's shown a lot of positivity in that sense too. Guys are happier, they're closer to home, and then our PMs, they just do a lot less, or a lot more with less, excuse me.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Even though we're kind of just stuck right in a 90-mile bubble outside of Omaha, we do a lot of special client work that draws us outside of our comfort zone. The biggest benefit for us has been we have a more clear strategy for attacking work and the timing of that work with the projections and scheduling our workers and our leadership more effectively. We always had a pretty good projection spreadsheet that showed start dates and end dates of projects, but that's kind of garbage in, garbage out. The projection function on Rivet, where you can plug in your initial projection, but then right alongside it, plug in your actuals, and project by project with myself, the safety team, our project managers, and the site foreman, we're able to adjust the dates a little more accurately based off of when we actually peaked on a project or what we think the end date will be versus what was on the initial schedule. And those tracking devices have helped us financially go back to a general contractor, say, and prove that, hey, we weren't able to peak on this job with our manpower until way later because of various reasons. In electrical industry, you can't put lights in a ceiling that doesn't exist yet, and items like that. And that has been a huge tracker for us, where the data is a little more concrete and visible than just trying to remember back from your meeting notes on site that you swore there was no concrete in a certain area on a certain day. So those kinds of calendar strategy functions are probably the biggest benefit that I've had so far using Rivet.
It's really great to hear. It's more than just the utilization of your team now. It's like labor is kind of like a two-sided coin. It's also retention. Like Brian, you mentioned, like making sure people can work close to home. That's gonna, and it's not just like your field staff. It's also like your leadership too. They're going to be traveling out to job sites, and if you're taking work that's like too far away, or you don't have people optimized, like that'll lead to attrition. That just makes it harder to run your business. So that's really good insight. Well, just wanted to, we pretty much answered the next question, so I'm going to skip to the last one, and this is just more of like a fun. But what other kind of innovation are each of you thinking about or excited about for your business over the next couple of years? Is there anything really cool out there you've seen at trade shows, or anything you're interested in that you'd like to share?
I can jump on that. We have a couple prefabrication shops that go hand in hand with our company. Some of them, we're doing a couple large data centers in the area, and we're trying out like an online catalog where our field leaders can log into that and order specific things, create little napkin drawings for the prefab shop team to, build conduit racks and things like that for our site folks. And then there's like order status reports, so they can log in, see the progress of their order, when it might be delivered to the site, all basically probably things that factory folks use all the time, but in the construction industry, we're just trying to get as much done before the site's ready, and then make sure that we can get it there right on time and install it in an instant, reducing some of the trash, labor, and generic materials that are taken up on site. So our little web-based ordering system for our prefab shop is something we're jumping into.
And for me personally, and I think it resonates across the rest of the leadership here at High Tech too, a couple of things I'm interested in looking at and find out more information are some like customer relations management software, and then any new innovations on estimating. Like I said before, we're continually looking for ways to streamline our business operations, and usually it's new technology, new software that helps you do that. I think if we really dig down deep into addressing those two issues here, we can continue to provide the level of service to our customers that High Tech Electric is accustomed to and well known for in our community. But innovations on new estimating software allow us to keep our competitive pricing models. So there's two things I'm really looking forward to, and really putting technology and software into a lot of our business operations and the different levels of our business structure, I think is going to go a long ways towards us expanding.
Yeah, and I know with us, we use a lot of different software systems to manage various aspects of the company. These systems share data to avoid duplication of effort, and to make just to make this information more meaningful and comprehensive. So what we want to do is bring these solutions together, bring these software systems together. Our software systems typically communicate with each other. We have systems, feeding into Rivet, for example, and then we have Rivet feeding into another system to bring everything into maybe under one umbrella. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but we like to bring everything together. So we're always kind of focused on systems that can communicate with each other. And we were very happy that Rivet was able to accommodate that need for us based on how we use our information. So that was a huge selling feature, but that's also always a focus of our company.
All right, well, thank you. I think that's it for the questions. Do we have a Q&A session?
Yeah, I'm going to tag in here. Thank you so much, Ryan and panelists. I love hearing these insights and taking this kind of deeper dive into your experience with labor ops software. It sounds like it's working out well for all of you, but I know not everybody is in that boat. So we've got a handful of questions to get to at this time. I'd like to go ahead and start that Q&A. To our live audience, if you have a question, please go ahead and add it to that Ask a Question box, and we'll keep stacking them up. Okay, let's get started. I think let's begin with, how can labor ops software help me grow my business?
I'll take one of that.
Hand raised. Thanks, Brian.
So I've actually started, in addition to running our operations through our labor ops program and really refining how we're utilizing that for our field staff, I've begun to start looking at our labor ops program in a different view and work with our estimating department. So if they get a project coming in that they're looking at, I'll take that project location, even though it hasn't been bid yet, hasn't been let, there's no contract. I'll pin that right to our dashboard, and then I'll do the same thing that we were doing for trying to identify how we send people to our new contract work. I'll pin that location, do like a 25-mile radius of that pin location, pull the employee list, and then I'll send that along to our estimators, along with our workforce projections that our labor ops program has. So it'll give us our available labor workforce that meets the time frame of that project that's bidding, and then also give them a classification list from our workforce of available workforce that they could look at different ways to blend out the crew rates and what different classifications we may have that live in the vicinity to that project, so we can put the best number forward and try to secure that work.
Any insights into how labor ops software is helping you grow your business?
I can share that.
I mean, it's shaving shaving time off of our day, so we have more time to go after more work, and we're not clumsily struggling through multiple different systems.
Yeah, and I would piggyback on forecasting. So that forecasting feature is huge for our estimating department. Like was mentioned, we can see our levels throughout the year. Where are we trending up? Are we trending down? If we're trending down, we have to go get more work. We typically like to keep our workforce working with us full time from project to project. So we don't hire project based. We hire for the company long term. And so the thought there is, once an employee is hired in, if they start in Missouri on a project, once that project winds up, they're going to move to Illinois, Nebraska, wherever the work is, wherever the workflow is. So we're looking at those long-term projections to see, are we trending up or down with our full-time employees? It just gives us a really good tool to utilize, which affects the sales department and estimating department. So that helps us grow the business. For us also, it's just a really good way of managing what we're going to be needing. So there's a feature called placeholders. We put those in. We know what we're going to be needing to hire for, and we can get those knocked out as quickly as possible. And it's just a good snapshot way for the project manager knows what we're hiring, HR knows what we need to hire, and then the communications there. So those things combined just help you speed up your processes, and it allows you to have the information necessary at your fingertips so you can grow your business and know what's coming in the next 2 months, 6 months, or a year.
Cool. Ryan, you want to top off with anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've covered most of it now. Just it's a lot of anecdotes we've heard from our customers. The usually like some of the core users of Rivet, the folks that are running labor at construction businesses, are usually very underwater, very busy. They're like, like I think like Adam gave the analogy, right? It's the center of a wagon wheel, and there's a lot of people paying you all the time. And what that means is you don't have time to focus on growing the business and recruiting or work trying to help business win new work. And what we've heard from our customers is that, freeing up particularly these individuals, like these 3 folks here on this call, on this webinar's time, helps you grow your business, because there's very few people that really know the whole business in and out. And usually the folks running labor at the construction businesses do know the business out and out. So they're like able to go help the business grow. And so that's like one of the main threads we've seen. And obviously like Adam, Brian, and Connie all kind of alluded to this and their response too.
Yeah, great. Okay. Let's throw the next question out to you guys. Kevin asks, are you using Rivet for scheduling your service techs as well as construction teams? And I'm going to hand it to Adam first.
So currently we're using Rivet mainly for long-term projects, but the service department that we have is like 22 vans, and they are on there as a project. So I use it more with our service department manager to add supplemental help. Say he might need an apprentice for a 1-week remodel or something like that, or a really oddball emergency that came up. I can look at that and determine what job might have a guy to part with short term to do that. But we have a little bit of a separate work order system directly within our service department. It's very I don't know, primitive. I'll put it that way.
Brian, you want to jump in? Oh, go ahead, Connie.
So currently we schedule our full-time employees through Rivet, and then, but basically that's what we're utilizing the system for, full-time employees.
Yeah, and for us at High Tech, it's I don't know if I can add any breadth to discussion. We're almost word for word exactly how Adam at Miller Electric operates that. Our construction guys are there in PIN, but our service department, the entire service department, is in Rivet, our labor ops software. They're all accounted for, and then that allows us to move, just like Adam said, back and forth. If they need support for a day, we'll take someone off the construction side and then move them in under this one service tab. But no, as of now, we're not tracking some of our service work through our labor ops program. It's all of our construction contract work.
Great. Thanks, guys. Ryan, anything?
Yeah, just some like color. We're really upfront about what we are and what we aren't. And what we aren't is like a service first software platform. And so most of our customers do have a service department. Usually it's smaller side of the business. We do have a lot of like low voltage contractors in electrical that do work that maybe looks a little bit more like service, just because they're shorter term jobs, and they tend to be a lot more distributed. But what we don't do is, there are softwares that better kind of like a service first business, but we have customers that do schedule their service in our product. I would say like we're not the best solution for the hourly scheduling, because our product is not for invoicing, service or quoting, right, stuff on the job site. And so, that's really, again, we want to be real clear about like what we aren't great at. And what we are great at is being that kind of like workforce system of record for your full-time employees, for construction work, for industrial work, and maybe for like some like light commercial work, if it's kind of like invoiced more like your construction work is invoiced.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Ryan, we're going to keep you in the hot seat. What does Rivet integrate with? We have someone asking.
Great question. Integrations are really important. Double data entry. No one wants to do that, and it's like kind of like one of the first things to be put off. We have integrations today with a couple Trimble products, Vista. We've integrated with Computer Ease, who Adam mentioned. We've done integrations with Sage. I actually don't know every single system we're now integrated with. We're like building a native integration with Spectrum, which is like another Trimble product. And we've done like some offline integrations with even Procore, but we can more or less integrate with everything. I think, we have what we call our Rivet data agent, which we can deploy if you have like a local server or a firewall. We can deploy this behind the firewall and we'll like connect it, assuming your other vendor like allows us to connect to their software, connect and pull and push data back and forth between those systems. We don't have a ton of like direct cloud integrations built, but we have a cloud API and we're building integrations directly with like a couple of platforms. But it takes time, but we can basically integrate with like anything. But like all things, like it can take time if it's not one that we've already built before.
I just got a message from your inside support team saying that you also integrate with Foundation and QuickBooks. Wanted to make sure that that's included. Yep. Okay, let's hit the next question. What other features or modules does Rivet plan to launch in the future? You're really in the hot seat. That's 3 in a row. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, so our goal is to kind of like cover labor operations, what I call like full life cycle, from the long-term forecast, right, on the bid side, what work might I have, and being able to bid and plan, not do the bidding, but like plan labor for projects you may not have yet won, on the very front end. And then we do today the tactical day-to-day labor management, shuffling people around, communicating all those changes, certification management, kind of like the back end stuff. In the future, we want to also have actuals. So today we pull in like actuals by integrations. And so if you have an ERP system where you have the actual labor hours, labor budget consumed on a job, we can pull that out. We can display that in Rivet on your whiteboard essentially. And we also want to have like some tooling inside of Rivet for being able to do like time and attendance. And so like time and attendance and production tracking are probably 2 things that are like up next on our roadmap after we finish building out some of the functionality that we already have today. And so I'd say that would probably be like some of the next more new stuff that we'll be working on. We do have some equipment functionality. It is still very much a beta product, and that's something that long term we want to build out as well. But really probably like next on the horizon, outside of responding to customer requests, which is like primarily what we do today, it would be like time and attendance and production tracking.
Great. Okay, we have some input coming in just now. Steve would like to know, have you considered changing your name? We have Rivet Work, Model with Revit, and integrations with Rivet. It gets very confusing sometimes.
Yes. That's a great question. I think we started our business around the same time as the RYVIT Rivet. which they were bought by Trimble, and that name's actually disappearing. And they actually have a new name for it on the website. So that one won't be confusing anymore, at least pretty soon. Revit, yes, like Revit is at least like spelled differently. We haven't thought about it, I suppose, but we've had these conversations about there being too many things that are too close to what we are. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Right now, though.
Okay, let's hit our next question. Can you explain a little bit about what the brand means?
Yeah, so when we were first starting the company, one of the things we really wanted to do was connect the office to the field. And a rivet is kind of like a strong, permanent connector. And so that was like one reason why we chose the name. But also we're based in Detroit, Michigan. And for those of you history buffs, Detroit was where a lot of the planes and tanks were built during World War II. And there's kind of like an iconic, iconic image from the era of Rosie the Riveter, all the women that went to work in the factories building those planes and tanks. And so that's like, because Rosie the Riveter is like a central core thing in the city of Detroit, that was kind of like a bonus. And that's who our, inside support chat is. It's a little robot, but her name is Rosie the Riveter. And so that's like the other reason why we picked the name. So we're a little attached to it for those reasons.
Love it. Okay, next question. How does, if you can explain a little bit about how support works at Rivet?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's best to have someone on the panel kind of represent what support has been like, and I think they've done it in their questions already. But we
That's a great idea.
we've got staff. Nothing is outsourced at our company. Oops. We have staff here in Detroit, and so it's always somebody here local you're talking to. And so yeah, maybe if any of y'all want to chime in and what it's like to get support from us.
I'll chime in on that, and I guess it's not so much support of the platform itself, but it's support as a contractor. I've only I've worked with our labor ops program for a few months now, and in that duration, I've had opportunities to meet with leadership at Rivet, and they want to interview you. They want to find out how this platform can be the best that it can be for subcontractors or our contractors, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. As all end results are time-saving measures for me. So to have an engaged leadership at Rivet that wants to know how they can perform better or how their product can make your company more efficient is invaluable to me, and I can't thank them for the support in that fashion.
I would absolutely say the same. Kind of twofold. So going along with what you're talking about there, I think it was just the other day, I think it was earlier this week, we had a call, and we talked about some of the features. They wanted to know what questions we had. I asked a few questions specific to some features, but overall they wanted to know, how does your day look? What is your workflow throughout your day, throughout your week? And how can we enhance your workflow? So it's a very proactive approach to how can we make your life better using the system. And I've never seen that before. I appreciated that very much. It kind of took me aback for a minute. I thought, well, why do you care what my workflow is throughout my day and how we go about doing things? Because then they want to create a solution to help you with any challenges or if you have a system that's working, maybe they can make it better. So that's a huge plus for us. And we enjoy those conversations immensely because so many things come out of that that are created and then customized or becomes part of Rivet for everyone else. So I think our business has had a lot of impact, it seems, with Rivet, and it's been a great relationship back and forth that way. And second to that, when we do have a question, when we have a concern, I wouldn't say necessarily concern, sometimes we just don't know how to use the system appropriately or something was missed in training that we didn't pick up on. The response is quick and detailed. And so if there is something that we want to see that we're not seeing or something's not understood, they're very quick to respond. I would say the support, I would give a 10 out of 10 with the support team. They're awesome.
You stole my answer, Connie. I was going to say the speed of response. But and then also just when we first launched it, there was like a watered down demo version login. I could screw everything up, and then they could come in and tell me, hey man, this is what you screwed up. Before we actually went to our Miller Electric Live version, there was like a Adams guinea pig version, so I wasn't making permanent adjustments, and then everybody else would have to fix it. That to me, I thought was pretty slick.
I agree with that too. Yes.
Y'all have Ryan blushing. Okay, so let's hit one more question, or maybe a couple more questions. What other softwares does Rivet compare to, if any?
You care if I jump on that one? We as Miller Electric for years tried to drink the Kool-Aid of several other sales pitches, and none of them really fit the whole package. Several of them looked like they had the card with all of the bells and whistles and certifications, and then as we talked through it, they just didn't measure up. They weren't quite there yet. Many others wouldn't sync with Computer Ease, which is our accounting program, and then they just all kind of fell short, so we just opted to not buy them and then continue to struggle. And then I can honestly say, when I saw Rivet, I took it to our executives and I said, hey, do you remember the previous one that they tried to sell us to, a different company, and how it wouldn't do this or this? And they said, yeah. I said, well, this one does that. And then it was kind of an easy sell at that point. So for me, those things, I mean, that was the slam dunk deal breaker for us.
Yeah, I'm happy to share like a little bit of the landscape of what other softwares are out there too. So like our most direct analogy would be, now it's called Procore Workforce Management, but it was formerly a company called LaborChart. That's also built for field labor management. There are a couple other companies that do some field labor management, but they are, again, like they're not focused on it the way that we are. So Sinar is like more focused for heavy civil. That's more of like a full ERP, but they have like a stronger field labor component than like most other ERPs would. But it's still not quite a direct competitor to us. Bridget's another software that you'll see workforce management thrown around a lot. That product is mostly built for GCs without self-performs. And so it's more about like fractionally loading your salaried workforce that may be on 5 jobs, like a project manager that's got 5 jobs, and which 5 jobs and how are they billable to those 5 jobs, for example. And so that's more like what that product is built for. They may be creeping into field labor management, but not their strong suit today. And then BuildOps is another one, and that's really for commercial service. And so those are like the folks that like we have on our radar and that we've like seen out there in the wild. But the real like direct competitor or analogy to Rivet is just like Procore module.
Connie, did you have something you wanted to add?
So he actually kind of hit on it. So the Procore management system, the labor charts, is what we were also looking at initially. And the system was more rigid, I would say. Rivet they were just over the top excited to talk with us and take what we needed and help us build a system that worked for us. I don't know that it necessarily is customizable, but they took our suggestions, they took our workflow, they looked and studied on how we moved through our old system. We sent them examples, and they helped us build a system that in some ways mirrored the system we were currently using, so that it was easier for us to adopt. And I appreciated that immensely, because I'm in the system all day long. And so that was a huge factor, if not the number one factor of us going with Rivet, is the team's ability and just the willingness to listen to us and help us build a system that worked for our company.
And finally, for me, I don't have a lot of experience in other labor ops platforms outside of Rivet, but in my experience, I think Connie mentioned earlier that Rivet is intuitive, and I can't I wanted to reinforce that comment a little bit because I think it correlates back to the leadership at Rivet and the questions, the interviews that they're having with us. Rivet is intuitive because they take the time to interview the people that are running labor operations to see what their workflow looks like. It makes sense the way that it's set up. It makes sense the way that it flows from one section to another. And that's my 2 cents. With not having experience in other labor ops platforms, I think kind of hit it on the head with how intuitive the program is. And I think that's a result of those interviews and how they work with you as a subcontractor to make sure that their platform is doing exactly what you need it to.
Awesome. Okay. That does it for questions today, which brings our webinar to a close. We'd like to thank our speakers, Ryan Meidel, Adam L. Sasser, Brian O'Donnell, and Connie Mahatha for their insights and advice here today. Attendees, you can look for an email from us soon where you can access the playback of today's presentation. But please also feel free to visit constructionbusinessowner.com to check out more on this topic, labor operations, and even more educational webinars. So thank you again to our speakers, and thank you all for taking the time to join us today. Everyone, have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Right. Thank you.